Theatres Act, agus Cesta Moin Elif, we National Cultural Institutions number 1 and number 2 bills. So the Central Bank, Concordia, has introduced new regulations which will impose restrictions on credit unions. And as you know, the credit union is a social movement which contributes greatly to our society. And the imposition of the regulations contained in the restrictions that have been brought forward by the Central Bank have to be signed into a commencement order by the Minister of Finance. And he's expected to do this next month. And numerous individual credit unions and the Irish League of Credit Unions have raised serious concerns about the enactment of these sections. So my question is, will the government pause the imposition of these regulations, and would you reassess the commencement orders that the Minister of Finance is to sign? And on the National Cultural Institutions number 1 and number 2 bills, you'll know, Concordia, that the decision to merge the National Library and the National Museum and other bodies with a single advisory council has been widely criticised. And it was all about saving money and not about protecting the cultural heritage of our people. And we can see this and the impact of this and of the cuts in the letter from the Board.
We're not dealing with cuts on the order of business now, please. Can we deal with the legislation that's...
Well, that's what I'm coming to.
Thank you.
You'll know that important collections are deteriorating, that these include historic Gaelic manuscripts as well as material from acclaimed writers like Joyce.
Sorry, there are other deputies waiting to get in, and we're already 8 minutes into the order.
And I've only been on my feet for a
but
minute.
Please.
And I always keep my questions short. The leader of Fianna Fáil was on his feet for 5 minutes.
Would you please?
So, you'll know that the National Library also holds correspondence between the Hits Block hunger strikers and those supporting them outside the prison. So these are all important documents. So the bills are to revise and update the governance.
Sorry, yes, Deputy, what bills are you talking about?
The bills which are the National Cultural Institutions number 1 and number 2 bills, which I named when I commenced my question, Concordia.
Thank you. I'll find out for you now.
Had you been listening? So what I want to know is...
Sorry, I don't have to listen to speeches. I'm here to keep order in the chamber, and that's my job. And I'd ask you to respect that, John.
And I wish you well.
And respect other deputies who are waiting to get in as well.
I wish you well, and I always cooperate with you, Concordia. So can the Taoiseach tell us when the government plans to address these serious issues and publish these 2 bills?
Well, in respect of the Central Bank and the credit unions, as you're aware, the Central Bank regulates the credit unions as an independent regulator without interference from the Minister for Finance and the Department of Finance. The government regard the work of the credit unions and the services that they offer as being a very fundamental issue in our country and for society in general, and they're very well respected and well respected by ordinary people. Obviously, there have been some changes made because of some instances that arose. So the Central Bank will obviously make their recommendations, and the Minister will oblige. So he will deal with that in the next couple of weeks. You mentioned 2 national cultural institutions bills, Deputy. I don't have a date for either, but I would expect that they're due for dealing with in the first half of next year. I might say that in respect of the current issue, Minister Humphreys was actually able to stabilise and increase funding both in 2015 and in 2016 for the national cultural institutions. They've had some difficult years. She provided $2 million in one-off funding in the 2015 estimate for the cultural institutions. 600,000 of that was allocated to the library, and additional money has now been secured for 2016. And I expect Minister Humphreys to deal with that matter and the question that you raise about the quality of the accommodation and the storage and so on for many of our for the historic documents and so on, to deal with that in the next short period ahead.
Deputy.